Hello, my name is Marie Toole, and I am an AARP Colorado volunteer. AARP Colorado believes the best years begin at 50, and we are out to prove it with our program, the new 50 Plus. It's a mindset that says we are better than ever. We can see and feel the trends. People 50 and older are more active, both physically and mentally, than ever before. They aren't slowing down. In fact, they are preparing themselves to do more of the things they love. So many older adults are exercising and eating right daily. They are taking the time to learn new things, and they know the importance of life balance, making sure that leisure and fun are significant parts of their healthy lifestyle. As part of that get up and go attitude, we are hosting webinars like Eating for More Energy with Culinary Nutritionist Michelle Fox, where we can discover ways to keep our nutrition in check so that as we age, we can continue to do the things that we love to do without limitations. In that lively spirit, we welcome you to enjoy our Eating for More Energy with Michelle Fox. While we hope you learn something new and exciting, we want you to enjoy yourself, relax, and most importantly, have some fun. If you'd like to hear more about healthy living and nutrition, please check out our website, www.aarp.org/food/healthy-eating, all underscored. We look forward to connecting with you. And here's Michelle Fox.
Thank you so much, Marie, for the introduction. Hello, hello, hello. I see the chat box lighting up already, and I love it. In fact, you all get jazz hands. And before we jump in and have some fun in our kitchens, I would love to know where you are. So whether you have said hi already or this is your opportunity now to say hello, tell me where you are. Are you here in Colorado? Are you in other states? If you are in Colorado, which city are you in? I can tell you I am here in Denver, Colorado, and just so happy to have you here in my kitchen. And let's see, I see some movement. And also, just so you know, I guess quick housekeeping items right now. If you see me looking this way, that means I'm looking at the chat, so I'm still with you. And the other housekeeping is if you want to follow along, if you look in right below this screen, the red circles that look like, there's one in the middle that looks like there's some papers in there. You can click on that and download the handout that I made for you for this workshop. So let's see, Teresa's in Denver. Hello, Teresa. Sarah from Evergreen. Yay, she said finally sunny and warm. Doug, my wife, Belle, and I are here in, I think it's a Pagosa. Wow, you guys are moving fast. This is fantastic. I'm so happy you're here. Let me scroll up a little bit more to make sure I don't miss anybody. Kimberly says hi. Pat says hi. Wendy, Norma's in Colorado Springs. Welcome. Elizabeth Williams, you're in Florida. So that's a little bit late for you. So I will jump in quickly because I want to make sure you get some of these goodies before it's time for bed. Let's see. Laura, hello from Denver, Colorado. Christy's in Durango. Wow, and a few more. So I'm sorry I'm not going to get to everybody, but thank you all so much for being here and for participating. I can tell you tonight's going to be that much more fun if you do participate. I will do my best to look over once in a while and answer questions as they pop up. But I promise tonight's going pretty quickly. So we'll have questions, or excuse me, we'll have time for questions at the end. So ask the questions now, ask the questions later. My goal is just to get more nutrition in your body. So again, welcome. Tonight we are making one of my favorite dishes. As a culinary nutritionist, there's a lot of, I guess you'd say, creative and super healthy dishes that I make for my family, but not a lot of them. I've got teenagers and a 10-year-old. They don't necessarily love a lot of them. This one they love. So I'm hoping you love it as well. It is our crispy, gluten-free orange sesame chicken. And now I see some movement here and there. All right, here we go. So first things first, we're going to make the Cauli Rice. That's going to be the bed instead of putting the carbs. I know some people often choose white rice. That's really high on the carb level. Brown rice is better. A lot of people use quinoa as a nice substitute for the carbs. So that one, I'm definitely a fan of quinoa because of the protein content and low sugar content. But cauliflower, dun, 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 has the lowest carb factor of all. Lowest carb factor of all. In fact, I don't know that there are any carbs, but there's a ton of fiber, which is amazing for our digestive system. And before we get our hands dirty, and you can still type on your keyboard, can anyone tell me what the #1 vitamin is that's in cauliflower that shocks most people to know? But this cauliflower is loaded with a certain vitamin, and I'll give you a hint. It's an awesome vitamin to help ward off colds, flus, and allergies that a lot of us are experiencing right now. Let me grab my mouse and scroll down to see if anybody has guessed our vitamin. So Anne says K. There is some K, but there's another vitamin. Jackie says A. There's Elizabeth for the win, Kimberly for the win, and Anne, yes, good job. So this is a smart group. Vitamin C, yes. And it's funny because when you think of oranges, I think they've done a great job marketing the vitamin C, but cauliflower is a huge, beautiful source of vitamin C. With that said, we are going to chop it. So if you have your head of cauliflower, pull it out, rinse it off. I've already chopped mine just because I had a feeling I'd be chopping a lot tonight. I want to make sure we stay within the 60 minutes. So coarsely chop it. I can tell you I already put mine in my food processor. So pull out your food processor as well if you have one. If not, don't even fret. We will get you. But when I say coarsely chop, I literally mean do as big of chunks as your food processor will hold. And then if you don't have a food processor, you can also try with a blender, and we're gonna pulse, whether it's the food processor or the blender. We don't wanna blend it to smithereens, but we are going to pulse it so that we get the consistency of rice. So it looks like rice, kind of tastes like rice, but it's so much better for our bodies than rice. If you do not have a food processor and you don't wanna use your blender, no problem. Just take your time and start chopping it up. And I would start just chopping while I'm talking, and so that you do get that small rice consistency. For those of you all who do have the food processor, go ahead, put your chops in. I have a pretty normal sized food processor, and so I will tell you typically about half of a cauliflower will fit in here. So I'll coarsely chop, I'll pulse the cauliflower for half of it. I'll pour it in a bowl and then start with the other half and do the same thing. So you might have a bigger bowl and maybe your entire cauliflower fits in there. Awesome. So while you're cutting, chopping, pulsing, I'm gonna be pulsing here. And I'll tell you, it does make a little bit of noise. So I'm gonna stop talking while I pulse. But just so you know, I'm gonna do about 6 to 7 pulses, and that should get half of this cauliflower down to the rice consistency. And feel free to do a little shoulder dance while you're doing it. So 1 pulse, shoulder dance. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, shoulder dance. 7, 8. I think I actually have a little bit of space to do a bit more. Okay, awesome. So take your time if you're still chopping, dicing, take your time. I will do my best to not lose anybody. But as you can see, the consistency looks just like rice. And so from here, we're gonna leave this on the side. We're gonna heat it up and saute it towards the end after we make our sesame orange chicken. But I will tell you that some people like to eat their cauli rice just as it is, and they like that crunchy texture. So if that's you, great. If you want a softer texture that's more like rice, then you're gonna saute it a little bit longer. And that's what I like to do. And so at the end, I'll show you how to saute the cauli rice. And now it looks like I have a question here. See, Sarah is saying, what if I already have cooked cauliflower, not raw? Okay, so that's an awesome question. I've never been asked that question before. I would say it's probably gonna get mushy if you put it in the food processor or the blender, so you probably don't wanna do that. To be creative, I actually might just hand cut it and not in the consistency of rice, because again, it might get a little bit mushy, but maybe you want like chunks. That's a nice fancy nutrition word. Maybe you can have the chunks of cauliflower on the bottom, and then the delicious chicken and the sauce will be on top. So it'll just be a little bit different, but it'll still be amazingly delicious and good for your body. And Sarah's saying, just saute it. Absolutely, you can saute it to warm it up. And again, all of this is texture to your preference. So there you go. If you saute it, it's going to be a little bit softer. And if not, it's going to be a little bit in the medium. All right, so Sarah says, okay, thanks. You are welcome. All right, so now to the chicken. And again, I already kind of prepared some things ahead. In the recipe ingredients, I made sure to include a Ziploc bag, because that is one of the stars of this piece. We're going to take 2 to 3 chicken breasts, depending on how many mouths you are feeding tonight. Although I will tell you, this makes great leftovers, if we ever have leftovers in our house. This actually gets eaten the night that it gets made. But you're gonna want to chop your chicken breasts in maybe like an inch size. I can't see it in the bag at this point, but maybe like inch cubes. And it does not have to be perfect. You have my word and you have my permission. Nothing tonight, nothing in culinary nutrition needs to be perfect. It just needs to get in our bodies. So with that said, we want to cube the chicken. Maybe some of you all have already purchased a cube. And then you're gonna put it in your Ziploc bag. And then I wrote down to put in a 1/4 cup of arrowroot flour. And I think on your side, I might have put in parentheses cornstarch, because a lot of people like to use cornstarch to make their meats kind of crispy and crisp up. I know other people use regular whole wheat flour. In culinary nutrition, we try to avoid corn, wheat, and dairy as much as possible because they can be very inflammatory to many of our bodies. And so I chose arrowroot flour because it comes from a whole plant. And it's an amazing, I think, trick to like make things crispy and crunchy. And so when you're going for that texture, arrowroot flour is an awesome choice. And you can find it in any of the regular grocery stores. I think I happen to find mine at Sprouts, which is kind of one of our local natural food store here, but I found it in King Soopers, which is here in Colorado. My Colorado friends know it's one of our regular grocery stores, and they sell it there too. So not hard to find. So let's see, Charmaine is saying mashed potato-like. Okay, so I'm guessing you're referring back to the cooked cauliflower. Yeah, it's gonna be mashed potato-like. And actually, that's not a bad idea, Charmaine. Sarah, if you wanted to just completely puree it and just have like a potato mash on the bottom, that's still gonna be delicious with this gorgeous chicken on top. So the cubed chicken's in the bag. 1/4 cup of arrowroot flour is also in the bag. And now from there, we're just gonna shake and move it around and just try to coat all the pieces of the chicken. And some of you might still be on the cutting the chicken part. And if that is the case, friendly reminder, I'm sure you already know, but we want to definitely use 2 different cutting boards when we're using meats and vegetables in the same meal. So I chopped this chicken up earlier. I used a different cutting board. It's already been washed and cleaned. And then I have this wooden cutting board that I'll be using for veggies a little bit later. All right, so we're gonna be tossing and turning and twisting. And then I'm going to turn my stove on about medium high, probably closer to the high, and pull out your wok. Mine is about a medium-sized wok, which is perfect for about 2 to 3 chicken breasts chopped. If you have a larger one, great. More room, the better and the easier. And then I'm just going to give this a moment to heat. And while I do that, I will tell you tonight I am cooking with avocado oil, which is one of the healthy fats that I recommend you cook with when you're cooking at high heats. It doesn't change form very much when it goes up to the higher heats. So when you're sauteing or even frying, it's a healthier oil. Coconut oil, the same. Both of these oils are, well, actually, coconut oil is antiviral and antimicrobial, so that's an awesome oil to be using during this time. But it does have a little bit of that coconut flavor. And so for sauteing, I typically go with the avocado oil because it has like zero flavor. It has the flavor of the food that you're actually cooking, which is really nice. So with that said, just waiting for the pan to heat up a little bit more. And I am going to go ahead and pour in about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. We're going to let that heat up. Let's see if there's any questions. What if you don't have a wok? Can you use a regular saute pan? Awesome question, and yes, please. Yes, anything with a lip that's hopefully at least 1 to 2 inches high, you're going to be fine. And I would say if you don't have that lip, or if it's a little bit lower, then just saute half a batch. I would just do half and half. So that won't ruin your recipe at all. I would do half the batch, move that to a plate when it's done, and then we'll do the next batch after that. So, awesome question. Let's see. All right, so it looks like my chicken is coated. And let's see about the temperature. It's getting there. It's heating up. Feel free to do a little dance. I haven't pulled out the singing yet. You guys are very lucky. We'll see how far we can go without me singing. For the dancing, sorry. This is what comes with the program. I can't help myself. All right, let's see. I think I'm gonna just try one piece of chicken, and see if it's hot. And it is not hot yet. So let me turn it up a little bit more. And I'll also pause for questions. Do we have any questions, whether it's about the chicken or about the cauliflower or about anything else culinary nutrition? Let's see. Sarah says, we love your energy. Yay! You get jazz hands, Sarah. Thank you, because I love your energy. Just honestly, having you communicate with me back and forth feels amazing. And hopefully one day we will be able to do this in person. I would so love to meet you in person. Let's see, it's Sheila Johnson, my mother. Hello. Dancing makes life more fun. So see, now you guys know where I get it from. My mom, AKA the birthday girl, she is turning 70 this weekend. Woo woo! So she gets to raise the roof. And Wendy says, will there be a recording to watch later? Absolutely, Wendy. I believe tomorrow you'll get that link directly from AARP. So thank you for asking. And Norma says, in person would be awesome. Sweet. I will be looking for you, Norma. And Allison says, happy birthday, Sheila Johnson. Regine Peoples is asking, what is arrowroot flour made from? Awesome question. I believe it's an actual root, a white root similar to like a carrot or a turnip. It's dried and then it's ground down into powder. I'm actually going to double check that fact though, because that's what I've always believed. But now that I heard myself say it out loud, I'm going to double check and I'm going to get back to you. In fact, come back and see me in August. I will be here August 5th making unparmesan chicken with roasted potatoes and a veggie melange. And all the events will be posted on the AARP website. Let's see, Angela says, happy birthday to your mom. Thank you, Angela. Sarah says, happy birthday, Mom, all caps. Norma, happy birthday, Sheila. And Doug says, we'll be there. Yay! I'll be looking for you, Doug. All right, so this piece of chicken is heating up. It is sauteing. So I'm actually gonna get the heat down to about medium high. I'm gonna smoothly pour this chicken in so that nobody gets burnt, especially not me. That would not be fun. And we're just gonna get all the chicken in the wok. And if you got it a little too hot, like I just did, you just turn the heat down. And I'm going to wash this chicken off of my hands before we saute it. We want to make sure that all sides of the chicken are covered in this beautiful, brain-supportive, brain-healing oil. I'm using coconut oil, but I think in the ingredients I said you could also use ghee, which is another healthy oil. You could even use full fat butter for this one. And for this first round, we're just gonna do one layer of the chicken. Or excuse me, one side, and just let it cook for about 3 to 4 minutes per side. And while we're waiting for it to cook, let's make the sauce. So in your list, I think I put hoisin sauce or soy sauce. If you're using the hoisin sauce, you're gonna use the whole bottle, which is about a cup. If you're using the soy sauce, you only wanna use about half the cup because it's a lot more salty than this one is. So soy sauce or tamari, half cup, hoisin sauce, a whole bottle, or 1 cup. And let's see, Doug wrote a whole lot, and I've got my beautiful husband sitting here. I'm gonna ask if he'll help me out and read what Doug found out about the arrowroot flour.
Yes. So Doug says that arrowroot flour is a less common gluten and grain-free powder. It's made from starchy substance extracted from a tropical plant known as the Maranta Arundacea. It's a versatile flour and can be used as a thickener or mixed with almond, coconut, or tapioca flours for bread and dessert recipes.
Love that. Thank you. That right there is an example of community supporting community. I appreciate that, Doug. So next, we're taking our orange, and you saw I was just rolling it to kind of get some of the juice flowing. We're going to do an orange zest. So I've got a zester. I actually married into this zester. I never had one before I married this beautiful man. I say all that to say, if you don't have a zester, no worries. This just kind of adds a little extra oomph of citrus. And, little known fact, a lot of the vitamin C and nutrients is actually more potent in the skin of the orange. So, we're going to get as much of the orange zest in as possible. Again, if you don't have a zester, you can skip this part. It'll still be delicious with the actual orange juice that we'll be juicing momentarily. Woo, I love that snap, crackle, and pop. Let's see. So yes, Allison's saying it is a great gluten-free option, which is why I chose it. You're exactly right. Okay, Nancy says, love the options you're giving. Yay, glad they are helpful. So with the orange, I'm just gonna cut it down the middle. And of course, we all know, we've had it before, vitamin C, cannot get enough of this. But I'm also adding the juice to add some of the sweetness. So a lot of, I guess you would say, takeout. We'll keep it simple like that. A lot of takeout and a lot of restaurant food often adds sugar to the meal to make it sweeter so that we'll order and buy more. This orange, I like that it's the natural sweetener. So we're getting this orange juice in the sauce. And be sure to kind of keep your eye on your chicken. It should be browning now on the bottom and kind of getting less pink on the top. But we're gonna flip it in about a minute. So I am using my handheld orange squeezer. Maybe call it lemon squeezer. Call it a citrus squeezer. You use what you need to do to get that orange juice in there. And now it sounds like this chicken, my chicken is talking to me. So I'm gonna take a break from the orange and I'm gonna flip this chicken. All right. And again, there's no exact science. You just gotta kind of get in there. Mine often sticks to the pan, so you just gotta kind of get in there and scrape it off. So it kind of flips over, so we're getting the pink sides on the bottom now. And if it's not being fully cooperative, that's what tongs are for. More jazz hands for tongs. Because we are going to brown the chicken. We're not going to necessarily cook it all the way through until we get the sauce on there. We're going to let the sauce seep in for a few minutes, and that'll keep the chicken cooking towards the end as well. All right, my husband's pointing out a question. Would you mind telling me, my love?
Oh, it's Sarah suggested that if you don't have a zester, you can use a small grater.
Oh, beautiful suggestion. Absolutely. Good job. Thank you, Sarah.
And Joanna says, even if you go back to in-person, doing a demo online is fantastic for those that are out of state.
Oh, yay. I love that. Well, thank you. We will keep that in mind for sure, because I definitely want to keep my entire community, no matter what city or state you're in, healthy. And I want to help you keep getting that nutrition in your beautiful bodies. All right, so I think we are done juicing this orange. I'm going to pour that into the bowl for the sauce as well. And again, that's the vitamin C and the sweetness. And then Nancy's asking, where is the recipe? So Nancy, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you'll see some red circles. And the one in the middle that looks like there's some papers, if you click on that, you should see a downloadable recipe. Let's see. So far for the sauce, we've got the hoisin sauce, or if you have gluten-free soy sauce, that's number one preference. But if you have regular soy sauce, I'll just look the other way for a minute. But one thing I did forget to say, if you do have the soy sauce, you do want to add a little bit more of the coconut sugar to kind of sweeten it up, because the hoisin sauce, unfortunately, does have some sugar in it already. Again, keep your eye on the chicken. It looks like mine is sauteing away. Some happy chicken. And actually, it looks like some of it could be flipped a little bit. So if you're seeing any pink on the top, just flip that over and make sure it gets cooked through as much as possible at this stage. Hopefully you're getting some nice brown crispies around your chicken cubes. Oh, I think I just missed a juicy one here. I am not making anyone sick. Especially my mother-in-law who's in town. She just got in town today from Wisconsin. I want her to keep loving me, so no food poisoning tonight. All right, chicken's going. So we've got so far in the sauce, the hoisin sauce, the orange zest, the orange juice, now the quarter cup of apple cider vinegar. This is like the queen mother of health. I mean, you just Google, I'm sure Doug can Google and post some benefits of apple cider vinegar. What I love about apple cider vinegar is that it's a great digestive. It's really good for your skin. I know some people choose to have like a tablespoon with some water in the morning, and it just really clears up your skin, especially if you're having some hormonal imbalances. So awesome for teenagers and awesome for those of us going through menopause. So just a few of the many benefits. And I'm shaking it because the raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar often has what we call the mother at the bottom. And that's where a lot of the good stuff is. That's like another technical term. The good stuff is. So I'm going to put a quarter in. And the reason I chose it for this recipe, not only because of its health benefits, but because that tangy vinegar acid adds some umami and more flavor to the sauce. So I'm actually going to turn my heat off now because I'm talking. And right now is probably about the time to pour the sauce on. So if you are, let's see, actually we just have 2 more pieces to go. So hopefully you're almost there as well. So apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of coconut sugar. It has a lot less inflammatory ingredients than the regular white sugar, lower on the glycemic index, so it doesn't affect our blood sugar as much. And then lastly, 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. And this one really is just for a flavor enhancer. Although I will tell you, sesame seeds are really good for our nails and skin. They have an ingredient, a nutrient called sesame in them. And so now, we're just gonna whisk up this gorgeous sauce until it's all mixed together. And again, if you chose soy sauce over the hoisin, because I know that's probably not the easiest to find everywhere, although I did find it in both stores, so hopefully you found it too. And I did find the gluten-free version just right above the regular version on the shelves. So hopefully you were in luck, but if not, next time choose the gluten-free version. Your body will thank you. All right. Let's see. So since I'm doing this, and it looks like hubby is pointing to questions, would you mind reading?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
So Kathy is located in Minnesota, and she would love to attend more online sessions.
Oh, yay. We'd love to have you, Kathy.
And
Great.
Norma is so helpful. I like cooking along to see how my cooking lines up with yours.
Awesome. Love that, Norma.
And then
Love knowing that I'm not cooking alone. It's awesome to have company in the kitchen.
And then Allison reminded everybody that first Thursday in August will be the next session.
Yes, August 5th. I'm very excited. That one, actually, we're going to be on the road. Steve and I are taking our family to Disneyland, but no worries. We found a beautiful kitchen, so it'll be a slightly different background, but I will have all my tools with me, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It'll just be California style. That is the magic of technology, right? All right, so hopefully after you poured your sauce, you probably feel some of the crunchies on the bottom, so try to scoop up as much of those off the bottom. I'm using a spatula. You could use a spoon, and we're just gonna let this simmer for a good 3 to 5 minutes. And while that simmers, we're gonna head over to our Cauli Rice. For those of us who have raw Cauli Rice and who want it sauteed to soften it up to kind of get it into that, I guess, normal rice texture, you could say. So, let's see, I'm gonna do a little magic here. I'm gonna move the big pot over so you can see my little pot, and hopefully that'll keep sauteing. And with Cauli Rice, I'm actually choosing to use coconut oil because I just like that kind of extra little coconut flavor. But if you don't, again, with Cauli Rice, I often like full-fat butter or ghee to give it that delicious buttery flavor. Because we're not sauteing it too long, olive oil would actually be fine as well. Whenever you're frying or sauteing for a long period of time, I recommend probably staying away from the olive oil because it is a healthy fat, for sure, brain supportive. But when it gets to high temperatures, it changes form, and then it becomes not as healthy. So great for, vinaigrettes to put over your salad, put over, I put it in my smoothie sometimes, but I just like the flavor and I like what it's doing to my brain. But I try to stay away from the heat of the olive oil. So I've got the coconut oil melting there. And we've got the chicken sauteing on this side. I'm gonna turn that up a little bit more. And so again, with the Cauli Rice, you go for the texture that you prefer. I like a softer rice kind of texture, so I'm gonna saute mine for a good, probably 3 to 4 minutes. And I'm only gonna do a little bit since I have a little pot. I will definitely saute the rest so that nobody goes hungry tonight in this house. But for demonstration purposes, you can see, well, hopefully you can see, hopefully I don't have the pepper in the way. You can see I'm just sauteing. And then another thing that you should do to your liking is either sprinkle on some salt to make it a little salty. I think the sauce itself has got a nice umami flavor, so it's a nice mix of the salty and the sweet. So I'm not going to put any salt in this one, but I will put pepper, because we do love pepper in this house. And if you've noticed, all my veggies are in glass containers. As I'm sauteing, I'll just give a little plug. When I do my meal planning sessions, I often like to remind people, as soon as you get your vegetables home from the grocery store, please, please, please take them out of that plastic, because you just don't know what kind of chemicals that plastic might be leaching into your veggies. And I also find that veggies just last a lot longer when they're in their happy place, which is glass containers. So get creative. We use recycled pickle jars when we're done with our pickle jars. We save a lot of our spaghetti jars, spaghetti sauce jars. What other jars? Olive jars. I think these are ball jars, so I didn't invest in those. I think we just got them at the hardware store. So just a little hip tip there. I'm gonna stir our chicken, again, making sure everything's nice and coated in our beautiful sauce. And because I've made this recipe a handful of times, I already know what it's gonna taste like, but this would be a good time, because the chicken is mostly cooked, for you to taste your own sauce to see what you might be missing. Maybe you want a little bit more sweetness, so to add a little bit more coconut sugar. Maybe you want a little bit more salt, so then you could add a little bit more like literal salt, or a little bit more of your gluten-free soy sauce. Let's see. Okay, looks like Allison's taking care of those comments. It looks like we are almost there. Do we have any questions before I plate this up? And actually, I take that back. I mean, feel free to ask questions, but while we're waiting, I did already chop up some green onion, because I think that adds just a little bit extra. Definitely extra in the nutrition, because it is antioxidant and more fiber, which if you're over 40, I think we can all agree, we appreciate having that fiber in our systems. So chop up the green onion. I just did little dices. Again, no such thing as perfection with culinary nutrition. And also, double again, I do store my green onion in glass. So you can probably see, when I bring it home from the store, I chop off both edges, put it in about 2 inches of water, put it in a glass jar, and it lasts like a good, I hate to say, the last one lasted us about 3 weeks. And the only reason I hate to say it is because we should have been eating it like probably within that first week, but life happens. So chop, 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 chop. And let's see, Christine's asking, can we see your veggies in the glass containers? Absolutely. So here are the green onions that I just shared. And then we've got the cauliflower. You can see the half that I cooked earlier are missing, but the cauliflower's there. I do this with my broccoli as well. And Christine, just so you know, we do not want to rinse our broccoli or our cauliflower before we store it. Everything else, well, most everything else. That's a whole nother conversation for another time, but just another little hip tip, mold gets into the broccoli and cauliflower. So you want to chop it, you want to store it, and then you want to rinse it right before you cook it. So hopefully that helps. All right, so I'm going to turn off my Cauli because it looks like the perfect texture. And then your chicken, everything should either be covered and or at this point it might be caramelizing and getting kind of sticky on the edges. It looks like our chicken is done. I'm going to give it one more nice stir. Ooh, yeah. I sure hope everybody's cooking along, but those of you who are saving this for another time, just know the kitchen will be smelling amazing. All right, so I'm grabbing my big bowl. This is my mama's big bowl. Love this bowl. Can put more nutrients in it. So at this point, I'm just going to take about half, maybe a little bit more, of my Cauli rice. I put that on the bottom. And now I'm going to scoop up this gorgeous, crispy chicken. Oh, babe, I'm going to try to save some for you and your mom. Let's see how it goes. And I'm also trying to get a little bit of that sauce in. Let's see if I have a spoon. You know what? I'm just going to use the spoon I used for my Cauli rice because this sauce is kind of like dessert for me. I really don't eat much sugar, so when I have something sweet, I'm like, oh, I want it. Okay, so we got the Cauli rice, we got the gorgeous chicken, and now we're gonna take our green onion, and or if you have other herbs, that would be awesome as well, because herbs are great detoxifiers of our blood. So any chance you get to get those herbs in, get them in, whether it's on top of your eggs in the morning, if you do eggs, if you do smoothies, put the herbs in the smoothies. And when I'm saying herbs, I'm talking about your dill, your cilantro, your basil, your mint, anything that's green and you know it's good for you. I'm sure you grew up hearing it. It's still true now. Get it in your body. So herbs on top of this dish would be lovely. And then again, the sesame seeds, they're filled with sesame. I'm just gonna sprinkle it over, kind of fancy like that. Pretend like I'm a professional chef. Feel free to do the same in your kitchen. In fact, I'll do a little bit more because I love the crunch, but of course, I love that it's helping my skin and my nails. And there you have it. I'm gonna show you for a second. It's also me kind of giving it a little time to cool off so I don't burn my mouth, because I will try this before we end. But as I give this a moment to cool down, let's see if there's anything else in the comments. Let's see. So, Elizabeth's asking, do I keep those veggies in the fridge or not? Yes. Awesome question. And it's funny that you asked, because I recently just did a workshop on making kimchi. And with the kimchi, it's fermenting. So it's actually right behind the screen in our laundry room. And it's been there. Today is day 8. I'm going to wait 2 more days, and then we'll eat it. Again, another story for another time. But that's the only time I would not be storing veggies in the fridge. Otherwise, I keep my herbs in the fridge. I keep my cut green onions, my regular onions. I think you might be able to see behind me. I leave those out. But yeah, anything that's going to be perishable, put it in the glass, and then I put it in the fridge. Awesome question. All right, do you put lids on the glass containers that the veggies are in? I do. Thanks for asking, Debbie. So I personally do, just because we have so many things in there and you just don't know what's floating around in the fridge. So I just feel safer keeping a lid on. If you are one of those that just is completely pure and just has all fruits and veggies in there, go for it. That would be amazing. So Vicky says, I didn't realize we were cooking with you, but enjoying the class and going to try to make it very soon. Oh, yay, Vicky. You'll have to let us know what you think. That would be amazing. Let's see. And, oh, thank you, Christy. I appreciate that. Thank you, Regine. Oh, and saying that the video stopped. Hopefully.
It's everybody else has it going.
Oh, good. So we're good there. All right. And then Norma's saying, let me step this way so I can see the full screen. If you put kimchi in your fridge, it will sour. Do you mind reading it some?
It will sour your milk. Her daughter-in-law and Norma found that out.
Oh, Norma, that would be sad. At the same time, I will tell you, as a culinary nutritionist, I definitely preach the dairy-free message. Again, no judgment here. Everybody has to do what's best for their own body. I will just say for most bodies, the dairy, the gluten, and the corn, well, and the sugar tend to be inflammatory for most of us. But you do what's best for you. All right, let's see. The top left. All right, Sharon saying, thank you for the fun class. I hope I can try the recipe and copy it. Yay. So yes, again, if you all haven't been able to find the recipe, or if you didn't hear me say it earlier, if you look at the bottom of your screen, there's red circles and the one in the middle that has some papers in it. Click that and you'll be able to download the recipe that I created for you. And now this looks cool enough to try. So let's see. And yes, do I look kind of fancy with my chopsticks? We gotta make nutrition fun, right? So if you have some chopsticks, grab them. Come use your chopsticks with me. If you have forks, that's still fun too. Here we go. Mama did it again. I really like this one. So I truly hope you do too. I'm going to look in the chat box one more time to see if there's any more questions before we sign off. Oh, that's right. Allison just reminded me. If you're watching this presentation on an iPad, I apologize. I should have told you earlier. The red circles are probably going to be on the left side of your screen and not the bottom. So look for the red circles on the left side of your screen if you're on an iPad. All right, Kathy said, so enjoyed this, looking forward. Yay, Kathy, thank you so much for being here. And Debbie, you're making this for your friends. Sweet, they will love you for this. Let me know how it goes. Cindy saying, great webinar. Yay, you are welcome, Cindy. Thanks so much for being here. Sherry, delightful. Thank you, Sherry. I'm so glad you were here. And Doug says, thank you so much. We enjoyed it. And looking forward to August. I will look for you all, Doug. Absolutely. And Anne, thank you. You are welcome. Well, thank you all again. If you have any questions, I believe all the information is at AARP. I think Allison's putting the link in the chat for all the events. Again, I'll be back August 5th, and I honestly hope that you come and join me. Have a beautiful evening. I'll see you next time.